We're live again. We're going to go over the Niners' big win, of course, Super Chelsea, and Cruz Azul fans. The safe spot. After the intro, we'll start it. What's up, everyone? My beautiful people, is your boy Gio back again with another live show today, Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully, everyone's starting off their week great as always. Um, right around the corner, holiday season. It's just next week, and then it's Christmas, New Year's, and we're at 2025. But how's everyone doing today? Um, Hopefully, like I said, whatever you guys got going on this week, you guys conquer. You guys are able to be positive and take care of business, as you guys I know always do. Much love to everyone right now. But let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. So finally, the San Francisco 49ers, they get a win, and not just a win, a very decisive win over the Bears. Yes, it was the Bears, but last week I was saying the Bears could beat the Niners. I was saying they could beat the Niners. They've played against the Packers, Vikings, Lions very well, losing close matches, field goal, missed field goals, blocked field goals. They were pretty close. They did fire their coach. So I was giving them, as how the Niners were playing. I could see the Bears beating them. I thought their defense was really good. And Caleb Williams the past couple weeks before this game was okay. But I was wrong. The Niners look like Niners of old. They started off great. First drive, they score with Juwan Jennings. Purdy was on fire. He had like 325 yards, a couple TDs. The Niners look good. The offense looked good. It looked like the offense of old. Kittle, man. Let's talk about Kittle. Kittle and Juwan Jennings. But first of all, Kittle. We're finally utilizing our best weapon on the team, George Kittle. Sometimes he's underutilized because of his blocking, but this past game, the screen passes to him, big plays, yak plays. He played great, and I feel like if he was on any other team, they would take advantage of the type of mismatch that he is. He's too quick for linebackers, too big for cornerbacks, for safety, sorry. So big game for Kittle going forward. He's been probably our offensive MVP this season, I would say. Just keeps making plays, catches. He had a great game. Third and Juwan Jennings, reliable ever since the Super Bowl this year. You could say he's been our best wide receiver on the team. 2 touchdowns, making contested catches. Might not be the fastest, but he's always reliable. They call him third. They don't call him third and Juwan for nothing. Great game for him. But he's made out of glass, always gets hurt. Kittle, he always is hurt, Bonnie, but he always plays. He always plays. He might be playing hurt, but I think they haven't utilized him as much this season that he's pretty fresh. So these last 5 games, depending on how the Niners go, and I'll talk about it, where they go, if they even have a chance. I feel like for Kittle, like I said, we haven't used him as much. We haven't taken advantage of the mismatches he creates. But Juwan as well, great game. But Purdy. Last week, we talked about, is he worth 60 million or not? He's had an up and down season. Supposedly before this game, Saturday night, he spoke to the team, him and Diamador Lenore, basically telling him like, hey, we got to play these next 5 games are playoff games. Like we must win games. And I think that's good. As a quarterback, he got to be the captain. He got to be the voice of the team. Him stepping up, it was great. Which comes to the first question. Purdy's getting a big payday this offseason. So what comes next for the 49ers? I'm still, and I would like to see how the season ends with Purdy. Yes, he had a great game. But there was like maybe a couple passes where if he had a better arm, their touchdown. There was one to Juwan Or yes, Purdy made an amazing throw, but if he was able to throw it in stride, could have been the long touchdown. Juwan Jennings had to stop, see where the ball was. So there's still that, but like I said, I've always said Brock Purdy, he a baller, he a gamer, he makes plays. I'll give him that. He's very hard on himself, but he always has shown up for us. But that's the thing, 60 million a year. I still think 40 to 45, if they're able to do that, I think that's where I would lean to. But let's say he does get paid big this offseason. It will hinder the Niners' chances of, stocking up this team because I feel like this team needs backup help. We've paid our top players, right? But behind them, our backups aren't that good, even though sometimes you feel like, man, the Niners in running backs, like they always, like Garendo, for example. I think in running backs, whoever we pick up, whoever's on this team was just balls out, right? But another, like our defensive line, it struggled. Um, the defensive edge that we got this offseason, he's been balling the past couple games. I always freaking forget his name. Floyd, right? Floyd. Gross Matus, he had a good game. We still got to get Bosa back. Hufanga, though, coming back, taking over Jair Brown's spot. Hufanga, I forgot how good he was. And I feel like we needed a thumper. We've been struggling to stop the run, and I feel like with Hufanga, he was able to do that this past game. Even Campbell, who the whole season I've been like, what is he doing on the field? He had a great game. The defense, they played way better. Yes, it was the Browns. Yes, the Bears. Yes, the Bears. I think in the first half only had 2 yards, and then they started scoring. But I feel like they needed you need what's it called, a fluffer game where you beat up, you get your confidence back up. But the real test is this Thursday against the Rams. The Rams, who we'll get into later, they were able to beat the Bills. Well, the Bills smacked us last week. And for the Niners, these next 5 are must wins. They could lose one of the next 5. But it's not in our hands. We have to. Other teams like the Rams, Seattle, Cardinals, they have to lose a couple games for us. If we do, but if we win out, that's all we can do, right? And against the Rams, revision rival, they beat us. They're kind of on fire right now. Puka Nakua, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. Defense not that good, but we'll see if the Niners are really back on Thursday. We'll see if this offense can continue to put on points. We'll see if this defense is able to get a Matthew Stafford, because with Matthew Stafford, you have to be able to pressure him, sack him. He'll get flustered. But if we give him time, he's going to dice us up. Puka Nakua right now, he on fire. He just keeps scoring. He keeps balling. So it's going to be a good game this Thursday. And if the Niners win, then they got Miami. Then they got the Lions. And then the Cardinals. Right? Rams. I'm missing one. Rams, Miami, Lions, Cardinals. Only 4 games left? I thought there were 5. Might be missing one. There's only 2 more home games, Rams, Lions. I think that's it. They're 6 and 7, so they can only be 10 and so yeah, there's 4 games left actually. I take that back. Almost wins, and they can only afford to lose 1. So we'll see. Other question that was asked about the Niners. Is 3rd and Juwan wide receiver number 1 moving forward, even with Debo and BA coming back next year? Obviously, Juwan Jennings, he's always reliable, is always making plays, but I still feel that right now he's our number 1 right now. Because let's be honest, we'll get to Debo, but Debo is not a wide receiver number 1 now. He's always been a gadget player. But when BA comes back, I will still take BA as 1. I feel like BA is a better overall receiver, even though he didn't have the best of seasons the beginning, but it could have been the holdout out of shape. But I will still take BA because he's a all around receiver. Juwan Jennings, he's more of a big body contested catch receiver. But I would say he's wide receiver too, and this team wants a healthy BA is back. As for Debo, so obviously I don't know if you guys heard, but Debo he came to Twitter. There's been a debate going on, or there's been talk these past couple games where Debo's washed. He's not the same. We saw that this game, they try to do the typical Debo plays, run plays, end around, screen passes, and he wasn't able to get yards. He would lose yards. He will get tackled for 1 yard. And we remember Debo a couple years ago, man. You'll give him a screen pass, he'll take it to the house. He did one against the Bears, against the Rams, even last season against the Eagles, even the Cowboys. But he just doesn't seem the same. It seems like he needs one or two extra steps to get that acceleration going. But he came out and he said, I'm not struggling. I'm just not getting the ball. And I feel like right now the Niners, they got a little momentum in their favor, right? Confidence is back up. And for Debo to make it about himself, to make it, like it's not me. Like I'm not getting the ball. It's like, bro, know where we're at right now. We're not having the best of seasons. We finally have a good game. And you put all the attention to yourself, right? That I'm doing everything right. You're a captain too. And this is the second time this season that you do something that a captain wouldn't do. You confronted our kicker and our long snapper who are at the bottom of the totem pole in the team. And now you say this. Well, Debo, on Thursday, prove it. Because I'm sure Kyle's going to feed you. Kyle's going to make sure you get the ball. You have all the important plays. Prove it to us. Be the Debo of old. Make us right now, people don't believe in you right now. Make us believe in you again. So I challenge you, Debo. You're probably never going to see this. You probably don't know who I am, but you're going to come out and say stuff like that. You got to put your money where your mouth is and prove it because we know what you are, Debo. When you were great, you were great. And I think, yeah, you kind of washed. So we will see Thursday what happens. Will he step up in the bright lights, or is it going to be a Juwan Jennings and a Kittle game again? Last thing for the Niners, Kyle. I've been the biggest critic of Kyle, but this past game, Kyle was in his bag. And this is what we've been asking all season. Spread the ball around. We have all these weapons. Give it to Kittle. Give it to Juwan, Debo, Pearsall, Garendo. Garendo reminds me of Mostert, man. That guy's fast. In space, they're not going to catch him. Between the tackles is different, but with space, he'll take it to the house. And unfortunately, he got injured. Another injury to running backs. But Kyle was in his bag. Kyle was creative this past game. And I felt that he did some different things, right? Screen passes to Kittle. So for this week, Kyle, I applaud you. I'm grateful you're our coach. And you're in your bag. Continue it. You're going up against the Rams, McVay, a friend, a rival. Let's see what else, basically, Kyle, you have to, right now is every game you have to give it your best because you got to, if we want to make a playoff push, you got to empty out the playbook, the secret plays, the amazing plays. Let's see where it goes. Give me a review of Pearsall. It's been tough. Obviously, he was injured all off season, and my boy got shot. But he's been open. What I like actually, after the game, they were the reporters asked Purdy like, "Hey, on one of those plays, did Pearsall run the wrong route? Because it should have been the touchdown or something." And Purdy, and this is why I like Purdy, he was like, "You know what? It was on me. Pearsall made the right adjustment. I didn't see it. So that's something I have to improve." That's leadership right there. But as for Pearsall, for me, I don't know. What did they used to give in school? Like when incomplete, right? I think it's an incomplete season for Pearsall. I just got to see more of it. But the fact, I guess, on Pearsall, right, that's always going to be on him is look at the receivers picked like around him. You got McConkey, who was picked later on, Leggett. Who else? Who's been balling? Could you say Worthy? I know there's a couple other, or not even receivers. Who I wanted the Niners to take in that pick, obviously, was a whole lineman, but if not Cooper DeJean, the corner for the Eagles, he's balling out right now. So I feel like that's unless he steps up, unless he becomes a legit weapon. Like he was picked in the first round, so he has to be like balling. Like he has to be receiver one or two on this team, but that's why, obviously outside the field, what happened, man. I feel like he gained, a lot of respect, a lot of fans. But just as a player, the Niners, using their first round pick on potentially a wide receiver 3 or 4 for this team, I never understood. Um, there was other holes we needed to fill. Pause, O lineman, D lineman, corner, maybe not corner, but there was a potential, because I think still in the second round we got Renardo Green and he's been having good, but just all linemen, or if we're gonna go receiver, we could have got a McConkey, Leggett, who I wanted. Obviously Worthy, we could have got Worthy, that, but the Chiefs jumped over us in that draft. So I'm gonna give him incomplete. We'll see what he does in the second season. We'll see what he does in these last couple games, but I hope he turns out, man. I hope he turns out, because everything he's been through. But I think I cover a lot about the Niners. We move forward. The rest of the NFL. Let's talk Chiefs. Man, the Chiefs. How do they? I feel like it's every week we just talk. There's just plays after plays after plays where they just get the benefit of the doubt and they continue to sneak these wins. Like what? They're like 12-1, and they're not playing good at all. I think Mahomes is having one of his worst seasons. But like I said, like we always say, Mahomes is Mahomes until he gets legit like knocked out of playoff contention or eliminated. You can't go against Mahomes. They're getting their weapons back. Pacheco. I think they might get Hollywood Brown back soon. But Kelsey, he kind of looked washed. I think Noah Gray, he's probably playing better. But man, these questionable calls, and I feel like it has created. I feel like every fan of every other team just does not like the Chiefs. And I saw something on Twitter where talk to me about. We'll get there, Bunny. Don't worry. I saw on Twitter where. What do you guys think? And if you guys are watching this later, you guys can leave it in the comments. Is this Chiefs team hated more than the Patriots when they were dominating? And I started thinking, I was like, obviously, the Patriots got hate because they always kept winning, and we're like, otra vez, like I hope they lose and all that, right? But I tend to agree with that statement. I feel like the Chiefs, maybe because I'm a Niners fan, and maybe because they beat us twice in the Super Bowl. But this year, I've noticed that any other fan of any other team just does not like the Chiefs, and especially when they get these questionable calls, the whole Taylor Swift effect. And you know what I think? Every time Kelsey catches a pass for no yards, they zoom into Taylor Swift. I already, I'm a Taylor Swift hater. I don't like her music. I don't understand it. I don't understand why she's so popular. She's dumb. F her. Swifties, I'm ready. I might get canceled before I even start. But I think that's true. I think the Chiefs right now, they're probably hated even more than the Patriots were. What do you guys think? It's interesting. Cowboys. Bonnie asked me, is that the problem or McCarthy? And I think it's McCarthy. I think it's McCarthy because he doesn't have I mean, we've seen the past couple of years. I feel like the Cowboys have just made dumb mistakes in their playoff runs and whatever. They haven't been prepared. On paper, right? The Cowboys, they have a good team. They have CD Lamb. They have their O line is good. I know they lost Martin, but their O line's always good. In defense, I mean, you have Michael Parsons, you have Lawrence, you have El Bland, El Diggs. There's players there. I think they're lacking a second receiver. I think that should be something they might look into, maybe like a T. Higgins. He was running back too, but like it's just been mistakes. The big one is we know Jerry Jones. He likes to be the star of this team. Him not signing Derrick Henry, biggest mistake they made. But I think it's more McCarthy than Dak. Dak's injured right now, but Dak, say what you want, he's made plays. He's made plays. But what he always has is he chokes in the big moments. But Dak, I think he's all right. Here we go. But I think it's more McCarthy, and I think this is his last season. I don't know where they go. Um, I don't think Belichick would. I don't think Jerry Jones would want Belichick because with Belichick, there's going to be that struggle because Belichick's going to want to have all the power. I feel like it would be good for the Cowboys to go for a coach like Belichick. He'll bring structure. He'll bring a discipline. But it wouldn't last because Jerry Jones, he wants to be the center of attention. This is his team. What other owner talks to the media after games? Like, dude, just cut the checks, write the checks. We move forward. So I think it's McCarthy. So, but I think Jerry Jones is the coach. I need Belichick in Nick Saban. I don't think Nick Saban would want to come back. I think he's enjoying his retirement. I think he does like the college game day, right? But I heard Belichick today. He's probably going to go to UNC as their coach in college. But I think for the Cowboys, they need like a change because it's been what, Bunny? Ever since we can remember, like the Cowboys are synonymous with their act. Like Stephen A. Smith says, they're an accident waiting to happen, and they need to shrug that off. They need to, it's been when have the Cowboys been like this? Como que te da miedo, maybe since the '90s. So at least you can, yeah, the Niners and the Cowboys haven't won the Super Bowl, but some of these Niners teams were, bullies, scary, and the Cowboys siempre es like, oh, ¿cómo lo van a cagar? ¿Cómo lo van a cagar? What dumb mistakes are they going to make? Putting Ezekiel Elliott at center, Dak running when the time was about to expire and not setting the ball. I guess you can say maybe the closest was Mail and Sila Robaron was Des caught it. I think he caught it. He made a football move. That was the closest. But other than that, the Tony Romo mistakes throughout history. I think it would benefit them to have a coach like Belichick to bring discipline, structure. There's a lot of estrellitas on this team as well that they haven't matured. Jamar Chase. Speaking of the Cowboys, Jamar Chase and Bonnie, speaking of that game, Jamar Chase single-handedly, and this is just for the people in the league, our fantasy league, gave George the pass against you. You called it, Bonnie, too. You said, did I make a mistake with not starting Tim Patrick? And I said, we will see. But Jamar Chase, this offseason, he wanted to get paid, right? He les hubiera costado maybe 35 a los Bengals. He sat out. He bet on himself. And now I think Jamar Chase might get 40. He's probably going to reset this market because Jamar Chase, he balling right now. That's the thing where that you always, I get it, right? Teams are like not willing to pay, but if you wait, especially when it's a player like this, like a superstar, sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and just pay because if you wait now, he's gonna cost even more. He's gonna want even like I think starting 40. But yesterday's Jamar Chase, he had what? 12 catches, 177 yards, two touchdowns. He gonna get the bag. He deserves it. It's him and Justin Jefferson. They're on the class on their own for receivers. It's a curse. Let's talk about the curse. I was thinking about it, legit, Bunny. So if you notice, right, and I'm talking about fantasy football, guys. So in our fantasy football league, all the people that made it to the party here at my house, myself, Daniel, Bonnie, Vic, we all didn't make playoffs. Me and Daniel, we were eliminated weeks ago. But Vic, he started off good, and then he went on the downfall. Obviously, he claims collusion, the biggest crybaby of this league. Thank God this is last year on the league. He will be kicked out. And I'm putting it out there. He still hasn't paid. So please pay your league fees, por favor. I think the ones that got the most turn, got cursed. George made it it was between you and Bonnie and George, but George made it. And I think the only reason he made it was because he was here. He left, came at the end. So he was able to escape the full curse. Now, he is in the playoffs. Anything can happen. But I think ahí llegó. But all the people that didn't come to the party, they're in the playoffs and they've had a good season. Still, this season, I felt like it was kind of mediocre. There was only two teams at the top that dominated. The rest, look at it. No one got a positive record. 7-7, 6-7, 5-8, whatever. 2025 draft parties canceled. It will not be canceled. We will break the curse together. This time, mandatory. Everyone will need to be here. So then it won't be cursed. Because if everyone comes, we can't say it was a draft party. Either way, I had a hell of a time. It was an amazing party. I enjoyed it. That's what matters. But I do feel bad for you, Bunny. Like you said, I think the Big Mike game that you had, that's what did it. Man, Jalen Hurts throwing that interception, who would have thought in that moment, right? Those 2 points is what basically did it for you. All right. Did I have all the football questions here? I think I do. I was going to talk about Bryce Young. Bryce Young, who at the beginning of the season, we called him a bust. But these past couple of weeks, man, he's really stepped up. He's really looked good. There was a play he did where he escaped the pocket. He ran and he threw it over a defender. So I think it just, I think just the Panthers build a bad team around him. Now they got a little confidence, with Thielen. Who would have thought Shuba Hubbard having a great season? Bryce Young, he looks good. Could you say that he's looking better than Caleb? And El CJ Stroud having a sophomore slump after last year, we thought he was, they're still young quarterbacks though, I heard, when your third season is when you figure things out and that's when you make those big pushes. So even though CJ Stroud's having a bad, season, statistically speaking, he can still turn it around. He still has that talent. Same with Bryce Young, let's see what the Panthers look with a better team, better O-line. But man, hats off to Bryce Young. He was out and about, benched. He has come back. And every week he basically has to prove that he's a starter. So good for him. GG's, Vani. GG's. Another quarterback who, am I going to have to say it? So Sam Darnold, another quarterback who had a great game, who balled out. I think fantasy-wise, he had 30-something points, but statistically, a couple touchdowns to Justin Jefferson, to Addison. Has the Vikings at 11-2. 11-2, right? 11-2. Can he do it? Is he able? Will he make noise in the playoffs? He definitely gonna get paid. He might get that Baker Mayfield deal where 30, 35 for maybe 2 to 3 years. But will the Vikings offer him a contract? We forget they drafted JJ McCarthy, who is probably their future, right? But Sam Darnold's not that old. He's only like 26 years old. And with this team around him, we're seeing what he can do. He's always had a good arm. But I don't know. I still feel that he's going to do Sam Darnold things when he plays better opposition and the playoffs, especially. But hey, these redemption arcs of these quarterbacks like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, you could say. Who else? I think those are the three big ones. They're all young. They've all were given the opportunity now, and they're taking advantage of it. So we'll see how far Sam Darnold goes. If you're here or if you watch it later. Cowboys are underdogs against the Panthers this weekend. Really? Are you going to bet? Hey, how much of underdog? A touchdown or probably a field goal? No. Are they playing a young Carolina? Because if they're playing away, usually the home team gets 3 points. That could be a good bet. But who will it be? Trey Lance though against Bryce Young, or is it still Cooper Rush? My power rankings this week. Number one, I still got the Lions. Hell of a game they had against Green Bay. I still think they're the best team in the NFL. That coach right now, he on fire. He's feeling it. He got pause to go for it on fourth down. So I got Lions number one. Number two, I'm going to go with the Eagles, even though they struggled against the Panthers. I stand there, A.J. Brown, he came out and said that the one thing that they're struggling is passing, but that defense is probably top 5 right now with Vic Fangio. Everything's clicking. Saquon Barkley. Those are tough teams to beat in playoffs when they're able to run the ball, good old line, play good defense. So I'm going to give them number 2. Number 3, I got to go Chiefs. They only have lost one game. They have the greatest equalizer, Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going with them at 3. Number 4, even though they lost, Bills, they have still the MVP, Josh Allen. He single-handedly almost came back. He had like 6 touchdowns, like 500 yards. So I'm going to put them at 4. I still think they're probably, if they face the Chiefs again, they'll take care of business. And number 5, I'm bumping up the Vikings. 11-2, playing great football in a tough division as well. Those are my top 5 teams: Lions, Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, and Vikings. I know. Yeah, I didn't put the Steelers, but Vikings right now got a better record. Yes, the Steelers play in a tougher conference, but I'm putting the Vikings this week. Now we go from football to football. And you know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about my Super Chelsea. Chelsea losing 2-0, come back to beat Spurs in 4-3. Enzo masterclass. What a goal from Enzo. And as we always speak, man, the form that Enzo is in right now, who would have thought that all you have to do is leave your wife and kids and just focus on yourself, King, and you ball out right now. Enzo's playing like Zidane. I'm happy. This Chelsea team is making me so happy to seeing them play beautiful football. And let's talk about motherfucking Cole Palmer, the coldest man on the field. Yes, 2 PKs, but Panenka PK. Enzo's goal, he looked like prime Messi with the left, juking, taking a shot, the passes he makes. This Chelsea team right now, Liverpool hasn't played, but I think we're 4 points behind Liverpool. But just to even say that Chelsea are in title contention after a couple of years that we had, I'm happy. Like I said, all I want is top 4. If we were to fight for the title, it's going to be tough. Liverpool, technically, I think they're 7 points ahead because they didn't play this past weekend. But we were hearing Man City, we were hearing Arsenal, but Chelsea right now, they're only going to get better. Maresca, man, What a great coach. Our defense, is legit. Gusto, Cucarella, Cowell, Caicedo, even Lavia. This team's balling. What I did not like though is at the end of the game, I guess Jackson was pissed off that he wasn't able to score. We won the game, bro. Like I know as a striker, you always like to score, but they'll come. They'll come. So I did not like that from him going forward. Jackson, yeah, don't be doing those berrinches. But overall, this Chelsea team, watch out, eh? Watch out. Something I saw on Twitter as well, which is intriguing. Obviously, Cole Palmer, he's been balling for us since we got him. When we signed him, and I'll be real, because this has been popping up on Twitter too. When we signed Cole Palmer, I didn't know who he was. I thought he's going to be another one of those WTF signings. I'm wrong. I was wrong because this guy, man, he's played what, like, I think he's already scored 50 goals for Chelsea in like 60 games or something. He has like 40 assists or something. Let's see. Arsenal is thinking of going for Blahovic in January. If that happens, Arsenal takes the EPL this year. America Cruz Azul Commons. Don't worry, Bonnie. We'll get there. But as to this, Blahovic, yeah, I think Arsenal does need like a center forward like that, a finisher. Havertz is not a finisher. Does Gabriel Jesus even play? But even him, he's more like not a finisher. That'll be interesting. It will make them better, but the what a lot of people are arguing about Arsenal right now is they literally play for corners. That's how they score: corner kicks, free kicks, and they've also spent a lot. Obviously, we've spent a lot of money, billions of dollars, but they've also spent a lot of money on certain players. And to play for corner kicks, that's not the Arsenal way. Arsenal has always been known for playing beautiful football. But Blahovic, we'll see. I could see that they might just need that solid striker. But I think this Chelsea team is going to get even better. And I think this Chelsea team, obviously, like I said, we're in title contention, but I honestly think next season, these players being older, maybe we can get, another key players. We have depth. This team's just going to get better. And another year in Maresca's system, like this is a team to watch out for these next couple years. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Chelsea fan. This team's playing beautiful. But enough glazing to Chelsea. Palmer, right? I saw on Twitter again. Who is better, Hazard or Palmer? Off the bat, I'm gonna say what Eden Hazard did for this Chelsea team, man. He single-handedly won championship for us. He would have amazing seasons. I feel like they're also kind of different. I feel like Hazard was just if he had discipline, if he really wanted to, he could have been one of the best players in the world. But Palmer, he is still young. I feel like for Palmer to get to that level, to the greatest Chelsea player of all time, as Sola was, as Hazard is, Drogba, he gonna have to win something. He gonna have to win a Premier League, man. Hopefully a Champions League. But he's still young. He has time. I think he'll get there. But Hazard, man, there's no comparison. It's Gianfranco Sola, Hazard, Drogba, Lampard, John Terry. Those are one of the greatest players in Chelsea's history. I'm not even entertaining that question. Hazard clears. Exactly. Thank you, George. And I agree. Because right now they've been talking, right? But Palmer's still young. Palmer could get there. But he needs to have those signature seasons as Hazard has had. That 2017 season when we won with Antonio Conte, that was Hazard. When Mourinho, Hazard. That Europa League too, when we beat Arsenal, Hazard. He didn't win the Champions League, unfortunately. But if Palmer can do that, then we can revisit. But we can revisit this conversation maybe 5-10 years from now. But George, what you think about Arsenal? The Vlahovic signing. Oh, you're the one that said it. I thought that was Bunny. Because you guys have green next to you guys. Oh, and you said GG's, but damn, I'm stupid. But Vlahovic, yeah, I think that's what you guys need. Other, let's talk. Okay, let's talk Cruz Azul. So I was asked this question also. Let's debate. ¿Se marca penal para Cruz Azul después del penal del América? Sí o no? So Cruz Azul couldn't handle business against America again. Their arch nemesis, the team that just continues to their father, basically, that continues to beat them in these decisive games. As a neutral fan, obviously, there's a little bias in me. Obviously, I would have wanted Cruz Azul to win because of my dad, big Cruz Azul fan. But it also, the other side of the coin, right, is just seeing Tony suffer that day, how sad he got, how happiness was taken away from him, how it was given to him, right? Think about it. This game as a neutral, back and forth, those last 15 minutes, right? America's up, Cruz Azul comes back, Cruz Azul scores a golazo. Tony seeing his emotions, like, yes, we can do this. We're finally going to do it. And then to be ripped away from him, you just can't make that up. You just, the happiness I felt seeing him suffer, seeing him not happy, seeing him rethink his life, rethink his allegiance to this team. There's nothing better for that piece of shit. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the game. But back to this question, right? So obviously, America's America. That reminds me of a game that I watched yesterday. Which one? Um, America's like the Chiefs, man. They'll continue to have these questionable calls called towards them. Was the Cruz Azul PK a PK? The one that Rotondi did on I forgot that PK. Yes, it was a PK. He pushed him. But then on the other side, right, the America defender kind of did the same thing to the Cruz Azul defender. He pushed him from the back and he stepped on his face. Yes, accidental, but that first push, I thought it should have been a PK because it was identical of what was marked for them on the other side. But America's always gonna get the benefit of the doubt. Now they go against Monterrey, potentially being tricampeón. Um, I think Monterrey will pull it off. Obviously, you can't root for them. There is no either you go for America or you root against America. There is no in between. So I'm rocking Monterrey. But as for Cruz Azul, what's next, man? They had an amazing season, record-breaking season. But yet again, they can't pass that demon that is America. They're like the Niners. We can't beat the Chiefs. They can't beat America. I don't know, man. I don't know what they got to do to take care of. Like I said, the one silver lining of this is just Tony suffering. So wherever you are, Tony, you're probably at work. When you watch this later in your bed, on your phone, when we get to this part, I just want to say, fuck you. Let me move on. Uh, what else happened? Real Madrid, they won. Barcelona, they tied again. That race is getting closer. Real Madrid is clicking. Barcelona, I don't know. They're kind of in a slump right now. Maybe the beginning of the new year, they'll reset them. They've made mistakes, but it's not over. That next Clasico is going to be it's going to be a good one. I still think Barca will probably come on top if they like I said, Rafinha's having a bounce back season. We know what Jamal is. Um, I don't know. I still think that they can pull it off, but if Real Madrid gets clicking right, Mbappe, players on like we always talk about, their players on that roster, they're a super team, all star team. But once they get the chemistry start clicking, watch out. The only thing is, it's just Mbappe and Vinny play the same position, so figuring that out is probably going to be crucial. I heard a comment that the Warriors should trade for LeBron. Thoughts? I feel like the past like couple years we've heard that LeBron to the Warriors. I don't know. He might mess up the chemistry that they have there. You know, LeBron's all about me, 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 what I want, who I want. I feel like the Warriors, they're always been like a. It was Michael Wilbon, some commentator, no, but I feel like the Warriors they play selfless sometimes. Obviously, when Curry's on fire, he's on fire. But I've heard that. I've heard stuff like that. But my thoughts, I don't know if it could work. Would I want it to happen? Of course. It's LeBron. Imagine LeBron, Curry, Draymond. Because that's Draymond's favorite player, LeBron James. Um, it could work. I mean, I think it will work for one season. But why need Bronny Jr. también? But I don't know. I've heard other players that they would want to get and trade away. But I like Kuminga. I know he has his ups and downs, but you know, I think I heard today Draymond saying, you know, he's our future, but you know, he just has to mature a little bit. Him, I know they've been in a little slump, but maybe I think the Warriors could make noise this season. But LeBron, I don't know. I don't know if Pepe's is here. Bronny Jr. to the sports house against George in the rec league. I said, Bron, no, I feel like George will cook him up. George will give him a solid and he'll cook him. Money on George. I said, Bronny Jr. The nepotism got him where he's at, which sucks. Imagine that pressure. Your dad is LeBron James, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He kind of makes it to where you're on the team with him, and now you have to, you know, prove that you deserve to be there, and that you know it wasn't given to you. It's a lot of pressure, especially while he's only like 19 years old, 20. You know, I think what would have worked better for him is to continue playing in college, develop, and you know, go your separate route, not under your father's shadow. We answered that. All right, Bonnie questions. Who will have a better career, Bonnie, Cristiano Jr. or Messi? I feel like Cristiano Jr. will probably have the better career. I think I've seen that his dad obviously will instill his ethic in him. So I think Cristiano Jr. definitely. Messi's kids, they're still young. They look kind of I don't know. I don't know. From what it looks like, I don't think como que they're comfortable where they're at, but I feel like Cristiano Jr. He's motivated to be like his dad. And I saw the Mr. Beast he interviewed Cristiano and le preguntó like, "Oh, would you want to play with your son like LeBron James?" And I think Cristiano Jr. was like, "Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like that's what I want too." So I think Cristiano Jr. definitely. If you could go back and invest on anything, what would you do? Great question, Bonnie. Number one thing I would invest is back in 2008, right when the housing market went to shit. Probably bought a house instead of being a kid. That would be one. The big one would be Bitcoin, right? Buying it when it was like nothing. You know, now I wouldn't probably be here, or I'll probably have a studio with a crew. I'd probably be the biggest streamer in the world. Betting on like all these underdogs throughout the years of sports history, you know, like maybe betting on Holly Holm, betting on Tony, I know you get a kick of this, betting on Costa Rica beating Italy in the World Cup back in 2014, betting on Leicester City winning the Premier League like from the beginning. That would have got you a lot of money. um Even Chelsea beating Man City or beyond Bayern, that would be a good bet. But you know, betting on these sporting things that seemed very unlikely. That crypto, some stocks. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I think that's what we would all do, right? Bitcoin would be like the big one. Doge too. Back in the in the AMC GameStop days, we would all be gajillionaires. But we would, what are your favorite cleats of all time and the top five? Great question again. My favorite shoe of all time, gotta be the Copas for me. Copa Mundial. I don't know. For some reason, with those shoes, I feel like you shoot better, you pass better. That's one of my favorite shoes of all time. I also liked the Predators, the Cacao. When Cacao, I think they were black and white Predators. Those were cool. The F50s that kind of looked like the Spider-Man one, like the Spider-Man webbing. Those were cool as well. Nikes was I like the ones I had them. They were from the Euros 2012. They were like one part was white, the back part was like green. Also, some shoes that I felt like I would shoot and pass better. Definitely, I always wanted the white and blue ones, but they never had my sizes. We never had them available. The CTRs, I believe, I ended up getting like the Tiempo versions of them. Vapors are up there, but I wish I could wear vapors. I have white feet, so could never rock vapors. I used to have these F50s Adidas cuando era the Euro 2008, where it was from all the different countries, right? And you could change the studs. So I had the Spain ones, they were red. I like those as well. But for Nike Tiempos, Copas, I've only been Adidas and Nikes. I know there's Puma, there's Lotto, Pirma. But for me, I've always been either Adidas or Nike. R9 2012 silver and green ones. Also like the yellow and green ones. I think in the World Cup he wore. I wish Pancho was here because him or George they could educate us on cleats because that's their thing. I know they always talk about cleats. I'm trying to think what else. I used to like también back in. I remember there was these Adidas también que back in the Olympics, the China Olympics, they had like it was red, yellow, and white. Estaban chilos too. The Umbro Deco ones, the Umbro one, the Puma Kings. I've heard they're always good shoe. I've never had them, but the Puma Kings, those ones I want to try as well. También who else? Those are good. Or remember I always bring these up. The Lotos that the one of the studs would spin supposedly para que te voltearas chingón. I think it was Cab, but I remember always getting the Eurosport magazine. You all heads of it if you guys remember, and just looking at the shoes and all that. Every month they llegaba, no, and I remember I would cut up the different players and put them on my binders for school. But those I would say, yeah, Tiempos are top, Copa Mundial, Predators, the F50s. Oh, the you know which one? The Total 90s, the like the ones Wayne Rooney will wear, the que tenían como like the rubber on like this part. Those were cool. A ver, purple F50s, the Dinos, the Concords, yes. OG Venoms, Black Pumas, tongue cover Umbro with the Michelin side padding. Ooh, Concords, those are those are the Mexican league. But no, yeah, the Total 90s one también, Total 90s. Or the old school Total 90s had okay, it was like gray on one side and black. The Bofos, the red and blue ones. My boy Alexis, I think he had those, the Bofos. Who else had a signature shoe like that? So obviously Ronaldinho, the Bofos. Ronaldo had his vapors, right? I didn't really mess with Messi shoes. I don't know. They seem they weren't there. I know Neymar, he had the Puma shoes, no, también they were like pink and blue. Zidane has some cool shoes too. Zidane. Predator, Beckham, obviously, you have the Predators. Kaká, I think he had his own Predators también. Oh, también Kaká had these. Remember, I had these Adidas. They were like blue and white. That came out like a little after, before I think before he went to Real Madrid. I remember those. But I feel like old school shoes were better. Now, puro colorful wokeness. Don't get me started. Any other shoes? Drop them in the comments later on if you watch this later of any cleats we miss. But as we're wrapping up, any last things we want to talk about? Did I miss anything in the sporting world? Oh, UFC. I did miss that. Best ones were the vapor carbon fiber ones. Ronaldo wore for the final. Oh yeah. You're right. UFC. Quick thoughts. Pantoja is the king of that division, man. He dominated that Japanese guy. I expect a little bit more from the Japanese guy, but then again, it's his first UFC fight in the octagon. Obviously, him putting him against the champ, I feel like they should have built him up, maybe give him some tune-up fights to get there, learn how to defend takedowns. But I think he did all right. But I'm excited to see him going forward. Obviously his thing is striking. That was one. The other fight, Shakhtov against Ian Gary. Supposedly Shakhtov, I think he was injured, but that one was, they kind of not did much. But I thought Shakhtov won. I think he's gonna be champ. I think he will defeat Bilal. We'll see. We'll see him at 100%. So that one was a good one. What were the other fights, man? I'm blanking now. Let me pull them up real quick. I know there was the Sirogan Volkov robbery. I believe Volkov definitely won as a Sirogan. He didn't do much. Supposedly he broke like his feet. No, he broke his like toes. But man, that was a robbery, definitely. And then the Bryce Mitchell against Kron Gracie. Kron Gracie, I don't know what he was doing in there, man. He no hands. Hey, it was Bryce Mitchell. Hey, he tried to pull guard. He slammed him to the floor, elbows, GG's. The first fight was good, actually. El Choi Duhu against El Nate Lodwer. That fool was good. El Choi Duhu, he had good hands. He dominated that fight. My boy Nate is durable, pero pues, then that was a good stoppage. But I heard like the prelims and early prelims were good. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to watch them. Dominic Reyes beating Anthony Smith, Vicente Luque choking out El Temba Gurimbo, who I thought, many thought that Vicente Luque, that was good for him. In the earlier, it was a good final pay-per-view card. Next week it will be Kobe Covington versus Buckley. I got Buckley defeating Kobe Covington, and Buckley moving up, maybe getting top 5 consideration. But, that would be the last card of the year, and then no more UFC until the big main event in LA. Stack card. But that's it for the show. Thank you guys again for the support. Please leave a like, por favor, comment, and I'll see you guys next week. We'll see how the Niners do. We'll see how Chelsea does, and we'll see how the rest of the sporting world goes. Have a good night. Peace out.